and that's not the players. There's 16 players on the Badgers as we get up, and Damon Bozeman will have a first look at Melbourne United to kickstart this. Here's Golding, 18 points on Wednesday night. He's guarded by Price. We're looking forward to that one. Ty Wesley, who had 16. Here's Bozeman, who impresses the point guard. There's Wesley. Outside for three. Net. And Melbourne United get it through some hands to kickstart this game, and a nice three by Ty Wesley, continuing the good form from Wednesday night. Yeah, we shouldn't forget that Ty Wesley was the guy that just upset University of Texas a little bit with his niggle out on the floor, and see if he tries to assert himself physically in this game early on. First look at Happ on Wesley. Bozeman reaches in and the foul. This will be a very good contest. A guy who, and we spoke about it Wednesday night with Ty Wesley, veteran, played internationally, has been a championship winner here in the NBL for the Breakers. He got hold of Jericho Sims from Texas on Wednesday night. Happ's a little bit better than Sims, but also a really good opportunity to go against a seasoned pro. I just felt like he just did what he needed to do the other night, Ty Wesley. Didn't play outside himself. Certainly tested the interior strength of the University of Texas. Get out, wide open. That's what he can do, Happ, as well as he kicks it out. And Trice is able to knock down that three. Majuk guarding him on that stage. Inside to Majuk, he tries to kick it out. Here's Evans, baseline, Golding, off the iron. Happ snaffles it, will go the other way. Happ was second in scoring last year for the University of Wisconsin. You've got to pay a lot of attention to his perimeter game, because catch and shoot, he's pretty deadly. There's Kobe King inside the freshman, goes around Jerry Evans, too easy with the ball fake, lays it in, and Wisconsin take the lead. Golding and Price, this is going to be a really good matchup. Off the screen by Wesley. There we go. Dips inside. Majuk waits his moment. Gets foul. Will go to the foul line as well. And already we're seeing, for preseason games which can start notoriously scrappy, already we're seeing some good ball movement by both teams. We certainly are. And Melbourne United have headed out with a little bit of an ambition to play with the ball screen today. So a lot of ball movement last time out against the University of Texas, but every single offensive possession has ended up in a bit of a two-man game. With Majuk playing off the ball screen, or Ty Wesley. So we can see a little bit, and we both marvelled at how well the team gelled on Wednesday night, considering, as we speak about, there's not a full complement of players. You're seeing guys come off the bench like a Jerry Evans, off the Seabull or the Big V bench like a Jerry Evans or a Damon Bozeman, and they're able to move the ball particularly well. You see a little bit of pick and roll when you see some familiarity between players like the Golding and the Wesleys or the Majuk of United. It'll just take some time to develop the offensive flow of Melbourne United, and this time of the season you're testing things, you're tweaking things, and a little bit of patience with them throughout this preseason schedule that they're going to have is going to be important for the fans. There's Happ. Here's Trice inside the Kobe King, posting up Evans, gives him ball fake again. Good D this time by Evans, and 3 seconds in the key, which raised their eyebrow Wednesday night when it got called, because it's not notoriously called too much in senior basketball, but there we go. No, it's not, but Kobe King, the freshman, he's 6'4", just got caught a little bit deep down in the paint that time, had nowhere to go, tried to invent something, and ran out of time. Jerry Evans didn't fall for the ball fake on that point. It's 5-all rule, knotted up. Golding tries to get Happ to commit, does. Foul, will step to the foul line. Interesting to see here whether they do reward him free throws. It looks like they're going to go to the side. No, he won't. But he threw his head up in the air, calling for it. He did as much as he could to possibly sell it. Here's Bozeman. Isolated with Trice. Here's Golding off the screen. Price all over him. Majuk. Happ bodies him. Little jump hook. That's better from Majuk. And I love that action last year between Golding and Majuk. They play off the two-man game off the down screen, and Golding just is patient to allow Majuk to fall into the post and let him operate with some space. Jerry Evans, who brought the defense Wednesday night, all over Kobe King right now in the denial there. Here's Happ off the dribble. Gets it inside on Wesley. Goes one. Look the other way. Blocked by Wesley, and he picks up his own loose rebound and pushes it the other way. Guarded by Van Vliet. Inside to Majuk. Back on Happ. Same move, same time. Kicks it out. Wesley straight on three. Got it. Deadly for Ty Wesley when he's got his feet set and has all day to stand out there and size that one up. Life's a lot easier when your big men can pass, isn't it? And we were going to see both big men on both teams be able to pass, but that was a great look by Majuk. Here's Van Vliet, his first action. Wasn't a good one. They hold on to it. Shot clock at 5. Tries to get it. Van Vliet, left hand, off the iron, goes over the top. Jerry Evans reluctantly picks up a rebound and we go the other way. Golding to the baseline on Preitzel, throws it up. Bad look. Bozeman tries to keep it alive, doesn't. They're going to put the other way, Bevan.
So I've got a foul here with Ty Wesley. A little bit ambitious there.
Not overly sure what he's complaining about, to be honest, but...
Probably that he was red hot from three-point range and no one got him the ball.
He wanted it at the other end. That's a very good point. As we see some subs, the first ones for the game.
You know, this is a big-time school, University of Wisconsin. They're 22 NCAA tournament appearances, 4 Final Fours, and that 1 championship in 1941. This is a big-time school coming to Melbourne to play some hoops.
Kobe King for 3 off the iron. Golding picks it up off the hand and pushes it the other way. Melbourne looking to run. Kicks it out. Evans, 18-footer. Leaves it well long. And that's the thing we spoke about on Wednesday night. He got some open looks and didn't knock him down, and it might be the thing that stopped him from maybe going to that next level and actually playing NBL.
And certainly the observation on Wednesday night, as you say, that the next evolution of him is to be able to knock that perimeter shot down because teams, he's athletic, he's got a little bit of Casey Prey, the lookalike about him, the way he moves up and down the floor, but he's just hasn't been able to hit that long-range 3.
Kobe King takes a break. Brad Davison in for his first at it.
We must mention that's
Here's
not the Brad Davidson from the Adelaide 36ers Townsville Suns days.
There you go.
That looked like Trice, was it?
It's 2 he's been able to hit now off the dribble, and both have been found nothing but the net.
He had a great freshman year, Trice. I was looking through his numbers. He's 42% from three-point range last year, Trice.
Showing us early wide. Wesley for Golding, gets him open. Long off the iron. We're going to go back the other way. Try's going to push it up.
Majock battling away down in the low post.
Little step back off the iron.
Nate Rivas, 4-star rated power forward in the recruiting class. Nice little freshman move on the low post.
Here's Wesley. Double team comes, dribbles back out of it. Great look. Majook inside, turns it over. Davison picks it up. They're going to push it back the other way again, Wisconsin.
Just do a really good job, Wisconsin. Every time Majock's getting that ball in that low paint, they're collapsing in on him. He's been able to,
with Paul George coming in, it's going to be tough. But in saying that, it's an NBL season as well. So if you're ever expecting an NBL team to be playing and be amped for a game, it'll be that one. I think Oklahoma City Thunder are going to obviously win, but I think it's going to be a much more competitive contest than some people are suggesting.
And I think people have to put it in perspective too for
no doubt.
OKC. That, you know, typically if it wasn't Melbourne United, it'd be some EuroLeague team out of Spain or France or, you know, and those teams seem to go over there and do okay and compete in the preseason because OKC have to, you know, they have to hit some goals for playing against Melbourne United as well. And they might just be out there getting through their rotations as well. So I'm excited. I think Melbourne United can compete against them.
No doubt. And I think that essentially, really, as great as it is for the league, if you see some competitive games, which you do expect to see, then the NBA teams, and we've already heard, you know, through a bit of word of mouth, that NBA teams are already putting their hand up to be involved in this going on. Would love to see it happen. I legitimately think you get 100,000 people if you have it. If you have it at Etihad Stadium, play the roof open, really do something to entice an NBA team here. But if the games are competitive, they're going to see more of interest in doing it year in, year out.
And it's baby steps.
Of course.
People have to appreciate that Melbourne United and the NBL, they're making baby steps towards a longer-term plan here. And let's get behind them and throw everything behind it here in Australia because it's great for our sport.
And a big shout-out to plenty of people watched this in Texas on Wednesday night, and no doubt Wisconsin, the same thing. Well, it'd be nice. It wouldn't be that cold at the moment. I was saying to a couple of our Wisconsin visitors before who were talking about the weather, and they said, oh, well, have you ever been to a Wisconsin winter before? I said, I spent a couple of weeks there once. Beautiful place, but probably never again in that time of the year. So they actually didn't mind the weather here today in Melbourne. And a gorgeous winter's afternoon. Back to the action.
But if you're at home,
12-8, Melbourne United.
Sitting on your couch today, streaming this from your smart device, We welcome you. Get on board Melbourne United this year.
Peter Hooley back in, who played really well for the first time on Wednesday night in his first game for United, and Matt John's in as well for Melbourne United.
Do you know who won last night? Dandenong? Down there in the Seabowl? I'll have to look it up for our viewers. I know Nunawading beat Geelong. Of course I know.
Are you sure the game's not today? Dandenong game?
It could be. It could be today.
But yes, it was Nunawading fairly easy over Geelong. Hooley outside here is Johns. Handoff. Golding. Offensive foul. Runs into Bevan Preitzel, and we're going to go back the other way.
I've just received a text message. People wanting to know who I'm commentating with.
Do you
want to know who asked me this question?
I don't know. Who was it?
Joe Ingles. Joe Ingles is like, who's that great guy you're commentating with?
Should have probably, well, if I'd have known he was listening, I would have mentioned him about that Utah and the Utah game that he's going to play in against, of course, the Australians in a couple of weeks' time. But this is, that also helps. Like when you see Joe Ingles be so excited about players he knows, and Chris Golding, who was at the announcement, the excitement that he has for these Australian-based players to actually go and test their wares against NBA players, that only makes it more infectious for us fans to say, you know what, this is going to be great fun to watch in all three games.
You know, I think Joe is someone who respects the Australian Basketball League and the players that play within it. He knows there's not three teams going out there just for, you know, have a little bit of fun, get their head on ESPN. It's going to be, you know, he respects it. And I hope the Australian basketball public get behind it too. And see it for what it is.
Well, last time an Australian team played in Utah, Shane Hill tried to rumble with Charles Barkley. So looking forward to seeing who brings a little bit of heat this year when he goes the other way as well. All right, 12-10. We've seen Ethan Happ just slowly and very methodically back it down. There's Evans on the three. Gets bailed out on a triple, which, as we spoke about on Wednesday night, is so frustrating for a coach. But he'll go line for 3 shots.
And that is a coach killer with 1 second left to go on the shot clock. When you foul a guy at the top of the key, and let's see if Coach brings him out. I think he did.
It did happen a little bit on Wednesday night as well, a couple of times, in particular late. Chris Golding got fouled right before quarter time and had 3 shots. We didn't see that defender for 2.5 quarters. So they're unforgiving, these college coaches, as well they should be at this time of their pre-season, getting ready for a big year.
Yeah, just a little over-enthusiastic. You see the ball spit out from one side to the other, and you chase it on out there. And
mind you, if you don't get a hand and chase the 3, you get benched for not playing defence. So it's a fine line at times. These coaches try to be unforgiving on these players.
I remember being at a coaching clinic once where Bobby Knight was just so critical of guys that run flybys past guys and see it as a bit of fake hustle. But these days, shooters have got so much more clever at throwing their legs out and drawing some contact on the three-point shot. We're seeing it more and more.
Jerry Evans takes a seat after nailing 2. I'm going to see the first time of Bassett. He's coming from Toowoomba in the QBL athleticism. That's a great move. That's a great move. And he's starting to really warm into the game now, Ethan Happ, who, of course, is a guy who's projected to, at the end of this year, be very high on the boards of NBA clubs. First round, early second round is where he's projected right about now, but that can change with a big year in the Big Ten for the Wisconsin Badgers. And the way he's played his X's and O's basketball in his first quarter suggests he's got a great basketball brain.
He played in all 37 games last year for Wisconsin and averaged 14 points. It was only 50% from the free throw line, as we see there, an area of his game he's going to have to work on, especially being, as we say again, 6'10".
What we will focus on after an air ball is the fact that he was the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year as well. Very active hands. I think led the Big Ten in steals and led Wisconsin in blocks. So he's a two-way player, which you need to be in today's day and age, in particular if you're going to leave a 15-footer a couple of feet short of the foul line.
Yeah.
You don't say it enough. You don't say it often. Here is Bassett off the screen. Here's Wesley on Happ. Double team comes from Van Vliet. Kicks it out to Hooley. 6 on the shot clock. Baseline too easy in the end. Played for some contact and got it, and Peter Hooley will go to the foul line. Did you get a text message telling us if Dandenong played last night? I think I am wholeheartedly basing it on the fact that I haven't seen any results from the actual game.
I will pull that one up for you right now. It was interesting, Wisconsin now looking to draw double teams on Ty Wesley. Double man coverage on him because he has been a bit of a handful early on, as Majuk has as well down low. We did mention that from the outset, that Wisconsin kind of even across the board. No real giant rim protector.
No Bamba.
No Bamba.
Hooley nails 2. Stretches that lead to 6. Here's Trice, who nailed 2 early threes, running the point for Wisconsin. Guarded by Hooley. Van Vliet. Mrs. Kobe King, who was looking to go back door.
You know what? It was Friday night.
Yeah,
Dandenong beat Hobart, 105-98.
Didn't think it was last night. There you go. So Dandenong's into that grand final as well. Big effort. So they had the 2 Tasmanian teams in finals and got over in a very close one last week with Jordan Page hitting the game winner with 20 seconds to go as Bassett lets it fly off the iron. Ethan O'Day couldn't hold on to it. It's going to go to Wisconsin. From all reports, Nunawading were very good last night.
Yeah, I didn't get to the game, unfortunately, but excited to see yet again the Nunawading Spectres in a conference final. Dave Beaver has done a sensational job as coach of Nunawading in I think about 8 years now he's been with the club.
Kobe King looking for Hap, now gets it into him. Goes baseline, probably got away with the walk. Tried to give it up, no look, we're going to come away. Wesley gets a hand and Hooley runs it the other way. Gets into the key, Bassett, he's not shy. He's not shy at all, he knocks it down. The guy, you played at University of Oregon, he's at Toowoomba in the QBL. And we speak about opportunities for these guys trying to make that next step, so no use be shy, let it fly.
Yeah, it does amazing things for your basketball when you play on a team where you have to score. And it just looked like Bassett there came down in transition, felt very comfortable landing with a 1-2 step and launching for 3. And we'll keep our eye on him to make sure that he doesn't get too hot.
Great pass. Wesley out of the double team. O'Day gets half blocked. Hat picks up the rebound. And the double team's been effective in the last 2 or 3 possessions for the Wisconsin defense. Here's Trice. Here's Kobe King, freshman. Into Hap. Guarded by O'Day. Spins left. Goes baseline. Too easy. We'll go to foul line for 2. You can just tell, we've only watched him for just over 9 minutes. Extremely smart basketballer, Rowan.
Yeah, problem is, though, I hope he can hit a free throw. He's got some wonderful moves down there on the low block. He uses his strength well.
Let's not ask too much of him here. Let's just hope he hits the rim on one of these 2, and then we'll start hoping he makes them next.
But he works hard. I mean, he's having a run from rim to rim.
Yep.
And he gets that ball. He takes his time. He's patient in the low block. As we see a successful attempt there. The Wisconsin fans behind us are pleased to see it hit nothing but net.
Still no rim, except this one drew net when the last one just found nothing. There you go. That makes him feel a little bit better. Yeah. Ethan Happ nails them both. 5-point Melbourne United lead into the last minute. Something we did see on Wednesday night was Melbourne United be able to finish the quarters particularly well. And it was in the end, it was probably the difference in the game. Texas had issues closing out the 4 periods.
It is something the coaches spend a lot of time on, situational plays, end-of-game possessions. And it is tracked, it is scouted throughout the course of the year. As we see Hooley once again in that 2-man game.
Iverson with the steal, but just throws it blindly. Wesley picks it up, back to Hooley, gives it off. There's Bassett again, uses the athleticism and the offhand to be able to nudge away Iverson and lay it off the glass for 2.
Certainly saw his athleticism there. He's able to elevate and adjust the shot from the shot blocker's hand, and terrific 2 points at the basket.
Van Vliet out of Belgium, can't nail it. Trice will get it. Guarded by Hooley. We'll have a look at the last shot for Wisconsin here. Thomas with half a screen. Trice too easy to the basket. Can't finish it off. Iverson got a hand as well. O'Day gets a rebound, and the last shot will be Melbourne United's. Hooley, what a pass. Straight to Wesley, and Peter Hooley's picked up where he left on Wednesday night. He was really good running the backup point on Wednesday night, and that's no difference. As Trice gets it off the iron lead.
Change here, but usually it takes me about 4 or 5 days, and this is the last day, so I'm feeling pretty good at this point, honestly.
How exciting! Get back. You're here today, and we're going to spend the quarter with you. But watching this Melbourne United team and some of these guys you'll be on court, how excited does it get you now you're back for this second year?
Very excited. You know, when I left last year, my goal, quite honestly, was to come back here. I really enjoyed my time here, even though it was very short. And you know, I was glad that we were able to get it done pretty early last year. And now I'm just looking forward to get back. You know, hopefully this coming week I'll start up with training, and we'll go from there.
What did you love about it, Josh, this year? Last year?
You know, it's really just a combination of everything. I've been a lot of places, and you know, most of the time I happen to like complaining about things, and I'm very good at finding things that are wrong with places. But in all honesty, I had a lot of trouble finding any issues with Melbourne last year. The city itself was great. The people were great. The organization is extremely well run, I really enjoyed playing with the players on the court as well and communicating with them off the court. So, you know, it was really just a combination of everything was great for me.
So essentially when you sat down with your agent and he said, where do you want to play? You said, well, Melbourne, because I can't find anything to complain about.
Yeah.
and now you're back here, which makes all Melbourne United fans very happy.
Yeah, I'm very excited to be back. I really am.
We'll talk about your off-season in a moment because while it's an off-season for Melbourne United, it hasn't really been an off-season for you. But we'll get to that in a moment. Back to court. What have you made of the early quarter and a little bit of this game between the Badgers and Melbourne United?
You know, it's kind of a game of contrasting styles here. Wisconsin is
really a strong group of recruiting class. They're preparing for 2018. But, you know, these sorts of experience, what can you take away from it from a basketball perspective, these trips?
Really just kind of getting your feet wet. You know, as I said, most of these guys have only played high school basketball. I think they've got a couple that, you know, maybe from overseas, but for the most part, they don't really know how good the level really is. And this is great exposure for them to really kind of adjust early on and, you know, not have to worry about, you know, okay, if I make a mistake, then we're going to lose a Big Ten game here.
Yeah. Now tell me about Majok and your influence on him this last year, because he has just consistently improved. It looks like yourself, Mike Kelly, and him have got together and worked out exactly how you're going to play.
You know, we're always working in there together, and Majok really has made great strides. Just in the time that I've been here, I've noticed a huge improvement. His confidence level has gone way up. You know, the one thing I really love about Majok is he's consistent. You know, you can always count on him to go out there. He's going to get you some rebounds. He's going to score around the rim, and he's going to play solid defense. And, you know, that's really what we need from him on this team.
Peter Hawley is someone we spoke a little bit about on Wednesday night and right before quarter time. You probably haven't seen a great deal of him before now, but what are your initial thoughts, him coming in and actually being really good as that backup point guard?
Yeah, I like the kid. He's a dynamic player. You can see he gets out in the open court. You know, he's a little bit flashy. I know he hit Ty with a really nice pass in the lane on the break at the end of the first quarter. And, you know, I'm looking forward to see what he can really do as well as the other guys as well that I don't really know.
Davison knocks down the second. It is a 10-point lead for Melbourne United. At halftime, Vince Crivelli on Wednesday night told us that and confirmed almost the worst-kept secret in NBL circles in the last couple of weeks that Casey Prater has ended up in Melbourne United colours for next year. Your thoughts?
I mean, I don't think I could be any happier. I know in talking to the coaching staff, and I think Vince may have brought this up, you know, this summer they were really looking for a Casey Prather type player. I think that was his exact words, and, you know, wouldn't you know, we ended up with Casey Prather himself, which was a blessing. I think it just kind of fell into our laps from what I've been told. I was under the assumption he was going back to Perth, quite honestly, but, you know, when I saw the announcement, I was probably as surprised as just about anyone else.
As a professional, I know you know, salary cap and all around the world, you focus on what you can do, but as a professional and you've been around for a long time, and you hear that, as Chris Golding suggested he was or is the the best two-way player in the NBL, and I think a lot of people agree with that. When you actually see that and you think, that's good, I don't have to guard him. Now the other teams have to guard him. How much does that actually make you think, you know what, this is a real chance that we're going to have winning this whole thing?
I mean, look, before we even signed him, I thought we had a legitimate chance. I thought we had a very good team last year that probably underachieved a bit, quite honestly. But this year, you know, we've just got so many weapons at any position. You know, there's really not a spot that I can see that we're weak at on this team. You know, and that's both starters or projected starters rather, as well as guys that are going to be coming off the bench.
Talking of yourself, last year you came off the bench, and we've seen a lot more. Like 20 years ago, Americans come in, imports come in, they automatically start. They're playing 40 to 48 minutes. It's changed a lot nowadays, and not just in the NBL, but professional leagues right around the world. Are you comfortable coming off the bench and you know, are you pushing in the ear of the coach? Or how does it all play out for your psyche?
You know, as far as starting versus not starting, I don't think that most professional basketball players really care that much if they start or not. Ultimately, what we want to do is we want to finish the game. You know, we don't really mind that much if we're coming off the bench. We just want to be out there at the end of the game when it's really, you know, when the game is in doubt, we want to be on the floor. But that being said, I've been in plenty of different situations throughout my career. I've been in situations where I've been starting and playing 40 minutes. I've been in situations where I've come off the bench and not really known whether I was going to get 5 or 20 minutes. So, you know, all you can really do is go out there with the time that you're given and try to perform the best you can.
11-point Melbourne United lead, and Ethan Happ down the other end starting to cause a little bit of concern for Melbourne United. Here he is again. What do you make of this young fella?
You know, he's a very solid player. From what I've been told, I think he led them in 5 different statistical categories last year. So, you know, anytime you can do that, I would say you're a guy that's worth watching. What's really surprised me is that he brought the ball up an awful lot in this game. They kind of leave him in the backcourt, and you know he's got the skills to dribble it all the way up the court, and then he ends up going one-on-one. So that's a tough matchup because it's not something that a lot of big guys are used to guarding.
How much does it make it harder to guard a guy in the post? You talk about dribbling. He does dribble the ball a lot, like we just seen there. Does it make it harder to guard someone like that compared to a guy who just tries to be so athleticism and almost jump over you?
Yeah, and I would say it's a little bit
there you
more.
Go again.
Yeah, you know, that's a great spin move in the lane. You know, he's a very skilled player. You can see that right away. You know, it's tough when you have to guard the guy 94 feet versus just, you know, him kind of walking into the post, because he's done that a few times, but then he's brought the ball up several times, and, you know, you're kind of on your heels, and he's got you working in the direction that you're not really used to working.
Back to 9 here as Wisconsin try and force their way through. We see Dan Biber come onto the floor as well. Here's Bozeman going to drop it back out.
It is a different style of game, though, this collegiate game. You know, low post entries, throw the ball down and go and operate. But the evolution of your game, you know, you've been able to step out a little bit further and further the last couple of years. Is that right?
Yeah. You know, quite honestly, I've been trying to work very hard at becoming much more of a combo big guy. You know, my skill set in the past was really just kind of a center, you know, as a 5-man. But the last several years, I've been working on my jumper, I've been working on my ball hand, and the other import that they had was having a little bit of an issue guarding him, so they wanted a little bit bigger of a player.
What's the standard like? Compare it a little bit to the NBL.
The standard does not compare to the NBL, quite honestly. Our 4-man was 6'4", so, you know, not really the same level, but it was still a good league, and the finals between our team and the Singapore Slingers was actually a very high-level finals from what I saw.
Yeah, the Australians would be very familiar with the Singapore Slingers.
Yep.
They team that played in the NBL for a period of time.
Exactly.
But, yeah, I mean, you've played all over the world. You've seen different styles of game of basketball. What can we expect from Melbourne United this year under Vickerman that we may not have got last year from Donopoulos?
It's Jerry Evans.
Yeah, so you can't foul three-point shooters like that.
I'll tell you this, though, and we won't see the replay, and we spoke about this earlier, the whole kicking the leg out, which is now prevalent in the NBA.
He did, yeah.
It takes off now. Steph Curry brought it in there. Everyone does it. That's what we've seen there. Not to say that wasn't a foul, but it can be frustrating for defenders when they're scrambling late and you essentially get kicked.
Yeah, you know, I did kind of see him falling away a little bit on it. I looked up late, so, you know, you're probably right. He probably did kick the leg out, and that's a tough call for a referee, too, because there's, you know, obviously there's a lot of contact, but it's a question of was he really throwing his leg out there, or was Jerry a little bit too close? So, you know, it's a judgment call for the ref.
You're not running out there, though, Josh, are you?
I'm sure I'll be running out there at some point. You know, on a switch or something, I'll be getting out there.
Davison knocks down the first 2 of 3. We did see as well coming out of that timeout the double team. Jerry Evans come over to double team on Ethan Happ. So something that we will see, but we'll also see how great of a passer he is out of that double team.
Yeah, they're at this point, with how much attention he's commanding, they're trying to throw a couple of different looks at him and see what he does with it. Obviously, he is a very good passer and has gotten double teamed once or twice already and has made the correct pass. So we'll just have to see if he continues to do that.
As Happ defensively will come away with it. Coming into the NBL, what were your preconceived ideas, and did it match up with what it actually is when you got here?
I really didn't know too much about the NBL before I got here. I only knew one other guy that I actually had any kind of a personal relationship with that had played in the league, and that was probably 4 or 5 years ago, a guy named Dante Draper.
Yep.
So, you know, my agent kind of filled me in on the fact that it was a league that was kind of in a turnaround type stage where, you know, it had maybe been down for a year or two, and our owner, Larry, had infused the league with some much-needed funds and had really kind of turned it around. And when I got here, I was pleasantly surprised at how high the level really was. You know, we've got a couple of NBA-level players on our team right now, and that's not even counting the guys that aren't here yet.
Kobe King gets the hand on Chris Golden. He'll go to line for 2 shots.
I've just been watching the last couple of possessions. They're really struggling to get Chris Golding involved in the game. Wisconsin seem to be chasing him around a lot of those picks and making a little bit of a physical battle for him. And this is where he finds his rhythm. When he gets to the free throw line, he knocks a couple of shots down.
Exactly. He's great at drawing contact, and even if the shot's not falling, even if he doesn't seem to be, getting the shots off that he wants, he finds a way into the game somehow. That's the mark of a truly good and unique player like Chris is.
That's exactly. We spoke about this on Wednesday night. Sluggish is probably a little bit harsh, but a slowish start for Chris Golding. He got to the foul line, all of a sudden rattled off 10 straight points. So and we also have to remember here that Chris hasn't played a game since the end of the regular season last year.
Yeah.
So he's had a very long layoff. He's only been practicing, I've been told, for the last couple of weeks now. And, given that, I think he looks great. I think he looked great as he started to come on last game. And, I think he's just moving a lot a lot better right now than he was last year. The thing that I noticed the most was on defense, he seems like a completely different player. He's able to move his feet much better and, is not getting blown by like he had a tendency to do last year.
It felt like last year he was just nursing that ankle through the back half of the season, and he'd pick his moments when he wanted to really test it.
Yeah. Thomas working inside is able to finish it off the Davidson miss. And is there anything more frustrating? You're a shooter, haven't been able to get some good looks, you nail a couple of foul shots, you get in the flow, then you get subbed out.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. but he'll be back in the second half and he'll be ready to go.
Bassett comes in, a turnover though.
Matt Johns
turns it over.
Yeah, Johns, he struggled on Wednesday night just to find a little bit of a rhythm and was the beneficiary of a couple of nice passes from Hawley. But that travel in the international game, in FIBA game, for some of the Americans watching in Wisconsin is certainly a lot more stringent here in Australia than it is in other parts of the world.
Well, they're changing the rule. They're changing the rules, so FIBA competitions around the world have the same NBA rule in the travel to allow the Americans, when they go into overseas, to not have so much trouble with it.
Really?
Yes.
See, my thoughts on that are we have enough trouble officiating it the way it is, let alone when we change the rules. But
yeah, so I think it's being implemented on October 1, so it'll be in time for the NBL year. How will it be straight into effect? Not really sure. It's going to be quite an adjustment for referees. Jerry Evans
moved from Jerry Evans.
Steps back.
Very nice behind the back there.
What have you made? Jerry Evans was really good. He had 11 points, 10 rebounds, 4 steals on Wednesday night, and had some open looks that he couldn't knock down. And the consensus was that if he can hit that open look, he's a real NBL prospect. What have you made of him?
Yeah, absolutely. He's got the size, he's got the length. He's very athletic. He can handle the ball a little bit, as he showed right there on that behind the back move there. And he's good defensively. He seems to be very rangy. Uses his length well, can challenge shots. So, I like his chances. I really think he's got a legitimate shot of becoming an NBL player and getting latched onto an NBL team here soon.
Trice off the glass.
Trice now with 11 points becomes all-time leading scorer right now in this game, in particular for Wisconsin.
Gets the rebound, comes down on Bozeman. A 5-point lead for Melbourne. There's Preitzel inside, guarded by Bassett. Ball fake, doesn't fall for it, tries to get the foul. Referee not having a bar of it.
They are a completely different team without Happ on the floor.
They really are.
They go to a 4-out sort of offensive alignment. It just gives them a little bit more space.
Yeah. And actually, Melbourne even got a little bit lucky on that play right there. That backdoor cut has been hit probably 4 or 5 times now, and that was stressed by coach in the locker room that this is a play that they're going to run a lot, especially when Happ is out. And they've gotten beat a couple of times on it. They really got to work on getting over that screen and talking that out better.
We spoke a little bit about the guarding an X and O basketball fundamental play compared to an athletic play. That's essentially what Wisconsin are. They're X and O's. They got kids who come out of high school who just know how to play the game without necessarily dunking over 2 dudes, and they get recruited because of their smarts compared to their athleticism.
Exactly. You're looking at basically a better, more athletic, taller version of a team like Princeton or an Army type. When I was at UConn, we used to play a game against Army every year, and Army would run the Princeton offense where they'd make you work for 35 seconds every possession. And it's very frustrating to guard as a defense because you can play 31 seconds of great defense and just have one little slip up and they'll score.
Bounce pass, backdoor, layup. I didn't play defense at all in my very limited career, so I don't really know what you're talking about, to be honest.
Yeah, that's how I made my name. I was defensive player of the year my second year at UConn, so that's the only reason I'm sitting here talking to you right now.
Preitzel to the line.
So before halftime, I want to get back to a question I asked earlier. What can we expect different from Melbourne United this year?
The one area that I think we really needed to improve was our defensive toughness. I think there was times where we were just a little too soft on defense. We let teams kind of dictate what they wanted to do offensively, and I think if we can really focus on that starting right now, I think you're going to see a hard-nosed, new-look Melbourne team, that not only is going to play really solid, hard defense, but has so many weapons on offense that it's going to be tough for teams to focus on any one particular player.
Hooley turns it over, and Matt Johns just bulldozes Iverson, who will now go out of line for the bonus too. We spoke a little bit about the issues that Texas had on Wednesday night and college teams playing the last minute, or kids playing the last minute or two of certain periods compared to professionals who played all the way to the final buzzer. Is that something you have to get accustomed to the older you get and playing a full 40 minutes compared to 34, 35?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that you need to adjust to, but that's definitely a key. Your body gets a little bit tired towards the end of the quarter. It's going to be halftime. You're going to get a little bit of a break. And, sometimes the mentality of the younger guys is to kind of ease up a little bit. Whereas with the pros, like you said, we know we have to go right until the end. So if anything, we play a little bit harder towards the end of the quarter.
I know it was a little while ago, but do you remember what the hardest thing to become accustomed to when you become a pro was?
The speed of the game, for me. When you watch the NBA on television, you don't realize how fast the game actually is. And even though we played a very up-tempo great take by Hooley there. Even though we play a very up-tempo style at UConn, it just doesn't compare to the speed of the NBA. These guys are all bigger. They're all the best guys from their teams. They're all faster than you realize. They're stronger than you realize, and it takes a little bit of time to kind of get accustomed to that.
Mind you, there's a TV timeout every 4 minutes in college basketball. you don't even get into a rhythm when you've got to go back to the sideline.
Yeah, that too. That too.
That lead back to 2. Last 40 seconds here. Hooley takes a charge. He's going to set it up. Melbourne United's lead, which was 13, is back to 2. Lobs it up. You don't see many alley-oops get jammed into the backboard or the rim like
that. No, you don't. This is preseason basketball right here, though.
Evans got up. Nice look by Hooley.
The pass was a little off.
Yeah.
Put that right up on the front of the rim.
Well, you also saw Majuk kind of run into the rim on that one, too. I'm not really sure which of them that was honestly to, but, Jerry made a great attempt at it nonetheless.
Offensive foul. Majuk gets his backside into a defender.
Melbourne's kind of gone away from the inside game. When you saw at the beginning of the game, they really kind of worked through Majuk and worked through Ty, and they've kind of gone away from that a bit right now. I haven't really seen them get too many post touches here in the second quarter, and it's showing on the scorecard.
30 seconds, Wisconsin. 13-point lead, down to 2 into the last 30 seconds of the first half. City of Casey, 2,000 people stacked in his try. She's got 3 threes. Passes Van Vliet. Left-hander, net.
And that's one thing that he can really do. That was the scout on that kid, was that he's going to be a pick-and-pop shooter, and you've got to contest every time. And, that time the screen drew the foreman a little bit too far, and he got a wide-open look.
First time in the game, they lead. In fact, I take that back. They led 5-3 early, but they're back. Point up, last 5 seconds. Hooley spins it into the key. Dixon off.
Great job of Juk of actually keeping the ball up on that one. A couple of times he brought the ball down a little too low, and the guards were getting their hands on it. That time he did a great job of keeping it high, and he was rewarded with the foul there.
When you say Hooley, who of course will be backup point guard, and Vince Crivelli told us on Wednesday night that the import, if it's not Casper Ware, will be a point guard. You got a smile on your face. You got anything for us?
Oh no, I have. When you say Casper's name, and immediately I just smile. I loved playing with Casper last year, and I've been hard on the recruiting trail with him this year.
Good.
I've been really talking to him kind of nonstop over the summer in hopes that he might come here. So. We'll have to still that level of a player at this point now.
Situational play here for Wisconsin. They throw the ball in deep, half court shot.
Oh! Trice, who has shot the ball particularly. You've seen some great and not so great stadiums. What do you make of this facility here?
These facilities are really nice. I haven't been out here yet. This is the first time I've actually been able to see Casey, and the facilities are really nice. Really, really nice. I think they're still renovating the other couple courts, but they're really nice facilities.
Trice off the iron, goes off the back. No one knows if it's a violation or not. Golding picks up the rebound, will come back the other way. Starting fives. Same for Melbourne United. Brightsall with the 3 fouls will start on the bench. Iverson's come on to fill his spot for the Badgers. Here is Golding. Wesley on the handoff to Bozeman. Back to Wesley. 5 from 5 in the first half. Double team comes from Happ. Spins around Van Vliet. So Wesley puts it down for a 3-point lead. Ethan Happ, what have you made of him?
He's a good player. Mm-hmm. He's a good player. He's very agile. He's very, very long, and he's doing a good job tonight.
Josh Boone pointed out, Rowan, he's carrying the ball 94 feet. As we see him go baseline there, he's almost playing that old traditional point forward / centre role that you don't see a great deal of.
I think it's fantastic for his basketball development. You sort of mentioned he's got some wonderful low post moves, so it's only going to help him be a little bit more creative out from 15, 17 feet.
Hey, Dylan, Daniel, we spoke about the fact that much different way the Wisconsin played at Texas. As a preseason with the team, is that the right way to go or the best way to go with play such different styles?
It's good to mix it up and find some different styles to play against. These guys kind of slow it down a little bit more, and they don't have as distinct of players. Texas had the big bangers down low, and they also had Bumba, who was just a freak and doing everything. But this number 22, as you talked about, it's difficult to defend him because United are trying to press full court. And then he's quite easily bringing the ball up as a four-man and taking guys off the dribble. And it's rare to see guys like that, and that's why he's been able to dominate the first half.
Wesley pivots, takes his time, will go to the foul line, but Ethan Happ down the other end put the Badgers in front.
Yeah, he's now moved out to 12 points. And it's interesting the tactics Melbourne United are using. It's still single coverage on Happ in this third quarter. And Jock's certainly having his trouble with him. It looks like Happ prefers to spin and go baseline than he does middle.
Yeah, he definitely does. He's trying to get back to that other hand and spin off the baseline. And the Jock, I feel like he just needs to put a little bit more pressure up on the guy and crowd his space so he doesn't feel so comfortable down there.
Wesley nails too. He's so good off the dribble, Happ. Obviously you have to be good if you're going to play the role where he's playing, but he's so patient in the post, which means if the double team does half come, he's not panicking and dishing it out unless he really has to.
I think he's not panicking because United have chose not to go with the double team right now. I think if they try to force him...
You see a lovely high-low into Happ.
Van Vliet with the great pass.
I think they're going to
Is it time for a double team?
I think it's time for a double.
Well, that's probably a little bit hard to double team, but tell you what, he's hard.
I would actually advocate for a little bit more perimeter pressure too. That ball supply is coming straight in there. He's catching the ball where he likes to catch it. It does make the Jock's life really hard when a guy like that has the freedom to maneuver around the floor like he is.
He's a very good player, and giving him that confidence just makes it a whole lot more trouble for the United squad.
Pick and pop with Wesley. Bozeman nearly loses it. He's going to hold on to it and they'll reset. Here's Majock, guarded by Van Vliet. No double team, spins into the middle, gets a little bit of his own back.
He's tough.
We're seeing old school low post basketball today, Daniel.
That's rare these days, but I'm happy because that's Majock's game. If we can bring it back a little bit, it can help him a lot. And he's put on a lot of size in this preseason too. I can see it in his shoulders. So.
Van Vliet, three, got it. Kobe King was patient. Was able to find him open, and a big left-hander from Belgium was able to knock it down.
He only averaged 1.3 points per game last year, Van Vliet, but from what we've seen on this tour so far, he had a great series against the Breakers Academy. He looks deadly from the perimeter.
Wesley guarded by Van Vliet. No double team. Tries to draw the foul.
That's the Wesley microwave at its finest. I don't think there's a player on this earth that could stop the Wesley microwave.
He was brilliant. He just outsmarted Texas on Wednesday night. He's doing a very similar thing today.
I just think he's the type of player that has his spots on the floor, and if he can get to his spots with that little right floater or spinning baseline, that's his money.
And he's never rushed. He always takes his time. He's poised. As he's got older, he's learnt the rhythm of the game.
Exactly. He's just searching for his little positions, and if he can get that shot off, it's usually going down.
Trice, who's now been able to open up the key, nails those first half three-pointers, and now it makes it a little bit easier to be able to get off the penetration there and get to the foul line as he did then.
Yeah, it's difficult, and a lot of those three-pointers are on Ty Wesley, and it's hard when you think you're doing a really good job on defense, but for some reason you start turning into a magnet, and then other guys are hitting shots on you, and that's what happened in the first half. It seemed like every guy that Ty was switching on to was hitting an outside shot.
Trice nails two. And that's the lead for Wisconsin. Early stages, third quarter. Bozeman and Golding not on the same page. Bozeman throws it straight out. Wisconsin will come the other way.
United certainly haven't been able to find that same chemistry that they had on Wednesday night. Things have been a little bit disrupted by the Wisconsin defense. And we see a mental error there results in a turnover.
Yesterday, Bozeman and Hawley were doing a great job of getting into the paint and distributing the ball outside. David Barlow hit a few threes. Chris was hitting his shots. But this Wisconsin team are packing in the paint. and it's limiting the amount that these guys can penetrate as someone just gets dunked on.
Jerry? That was Jerry Evans, was on the half poster. But another great pass. Rowan, you spoke about the pressure on the ball handler. Wasn't there again for Van Vliet to be able to essentially lob it into the guy who is by far the best player in the game and also airballed a foul shot. Very rarely do you hear that sentence. Wesley down the other end.
It's a layup clinic right now for both teams. But it comes back to fundamentals. Wisconsin are an extremely well-drilled fundamental team. They're driving Majock up the middle of the paint and able to lob the ball over the top. There's plenty of room underneath. That ball pressure does need to extend for Melbourne United.
No Sports Centre top 10 highlights in this one so far. But entertaining nonetheless. 2-point Wisconsin Badgers lead. They have the ball side out after the foul on Peter Hooley.
The other thing with Melbourne United they haven't done today, which they did really well on Wednesday night, was push the ball.
Exactly.
You know, there's times where they've had the opportunity to just spit it up the floor and it just hasn't happened for them. Whether that's a result of Wisconsin's defense, I'm not sure.
I think what happened a little bit too on Wednesday night is that Texas just kept missing threes and they were long rebounds and was able to give you that head start. Right. Today it hasn't happened. Wisconsin has shot the ball pretty well from a three-point lane and doesn't give you that long rebound and the confidence to get going as Golding tries to get going.
It's definitely two different types of games.
Yeah.
Like Texas team were more up the floor and athletic, whereas this team, they know what they have and they're trying to pack in the paint. They're trying to force the ball to not go inside the good scoring areas. And if Melbourne are not going to pressure the ball up the floor, it's going to be hard to get those turnovers which lead into transition points. And
here's Golding.
That's what they need from Golding. They need him to spark a fire and that'll encourage the rest of the team.
It's his first three that he's found the bottom of the net. As a player, Daniel, what do you prefer to play? The athletic, let's get up, down, and just run style of play, or the old X's and O's half-court basketball?
The athletic get up and down and run is easier to score because you're going to get easy transition baskets. And when you play fast, it's going to lead to a lot more turnovers, which lead to easy baskets. Whereas this team kind of grind it out. And it's hard, as we see right then, it's hard to play defense for a whole shot clock and then lose to an offensive rebound and have to play defense again. It gives you no energy for offense. It gives you no spark and no momentum. And that's what the United squad need right now. They need someone to give them that spark and that momentum.
That's what Jerry Evans and Peter Hooley did really well on Wednesday night. Jerry Evans almost from the opening tip, and then Peter Hooley when he came on as the backup point guard. So they're looking exactly for one of those men or someone else to be able to get going, or at Golding to knock a couple of those threes down and give them the spark in a bit of a different way.
Another player that I thought did really well, who surprised me last game, was David Barlow, who's not playing tonight, because he was up the floor on a make and pressuring the point guard, doubling the point guard, and then forcing them to spin. And we need someone to fill that spot. Jerry was doing that last game, and hopefully he can get a few deflections and force some mistakes this game.
Wesley on a long rebound, leaves a little jump hook short. Wisconsin going to push it the other way. Brad Davison had a really good, he was the spark for Wisconsin in that second quarter when they ate into a 13-point lead. They kind of lead by 2. Thomas, here's Kobe King, the freshman.
That's tough. It was good defense.
It is tough. Bevan Preitzel, who was in foul trouble, 3 fouls in that first half, but an unbelievably talented. 2 years ago, broke his foot, so he ruled his whole freshman year out. Made a comeback, broke the same foot, missed the rest of the year. Wow. Played pretty well last year and got going as the year went on. So he's a guy who can stroke it. That scrappy 2 guard that fits this Wisconsin style so nicely.
This is what we need from Chris. We need Chris to get some more touches, and once he gets going, I think it will lift his team a lot.
Right, he had 4 shots in the first half, not necessarily high supply for Golding, and we've just seen the last 3 possessions all come through him.
Yes. It's not enough, is it?
It's one of those things with Golding, when he hits these little flat spots in his game, people go, gee, he's shooting too much, and he's not making them, but he's got to find some sort of rhythm in the game, and he does explore his game. When he knows that he has to score a lot, he'll start to run himself off a few down picks, and I think he has to maintain aggressiveness. He's going to make a lot, but he's also going to miss some, and the team just has to ride with him.
I don't think he's worried about those 4 shots in the first half, because scorers like Chris know they're going to score. It's just about getting to their spots and getting the shots up. And I think he'll be more aggressive this half, knowing that the team needs him and knowing he can get a shot off whenever he wants to anyway. It's just a matter of him getting the confidence going, and you don't get confidence if you don't shoot the ball.
Kobe King, a guy who was Mr. Wisconsin last year as a high school athlete, Kobe King, but hasn't quite got going just yet, the freshman.
But he gets down on himself, you know, like, his body language sometimes. I know he's a competitor, I know he's thirsty, and, he just doesn't have the same bounce in his step today that he did on Wednesday.
I see that too, but I think it's coming. I just think it's time. I just think once they get some momentum and some rhythm, and that only comes from stops. If they're not getting stops or not getting deflections, not getting those hustle plays, it's hard to get the momentum. And Wisconsin loves this style of basketball. They want to grind it out and go through offense, whereas United are trying to build the way that they play and see what kind of title they have as a team, and hopefully they can get back into this running game and get some scores.
In fairness to Chris Golding as well, limited pre-season, coming off the ankle surgery, second game in. He might be a little sorer than he may be letting on. He might be a bit puffed. His aerobic capacity probably isn't as high as he proves me wrong by making a step back three there, so that's nice.
It's coming, Daniel.
Feel it.
It's coming. You can feel it.
Forget the interrupted pre-season. This guy's about to go off.
And I can see it on his face. He knows it's coming. Yeah, he just needs to get him up.
He locks in. That's the thing. You see moments in the game where he just locks in and he wants to get him away.
There's Kobe King at the other end, straight on three. It's down.
He has just made some shots at all the right times, King.
Traditionally don't start a lot of freshmen, the University of Wisconsin. I think like 5 in the last 20 years, but you think Kobe King's going to be there when the Big Ten season starts. There's Hooley, top of the key on Davison.
Nice.
Good answer for Hooley.
Well needed.
Good ball
now
pick up
the defense
the floor.
lift a little bit.
Yeah. See those passes, I'd just like to see Majock get up, be a little bit more disruptive. Where got the momentum, Melbourne United, and we just...
That's exactly what they talked about.
King again. He's feeling it.
They talked about that at halftime. The bigs trying to get up a little bit higher on the ball and stop their... Because they just look too comfortable out there on offense.
5-point leads. Kobe King's found form. Here's Golding. He's starting to heat up as well. O'Day the handoff. Hooley just hit the last three. Davison all over him. Gets into the key. No double. Throws it off the rim, off the iron. Pritzel will go the other way as Wisconsin try to extend on a 5-point lead. Davison.
I get the sense Wisconsin are far more fluent offensively without Happ on the floor. He anchors the low post. He fills up the lane. They just seem to be able to get a little bit more fluency to their offensive game when he's not on.
Davison with the awkward layup off the iron. Knocked out a call. Will stay with Wisconsin. No, it won't. It'll stay with Melbourne United. Sorry. That can sometimes happen, can't it, Daniel? When you've got such a dominant, in particular, dominant post player, they occasionally fall into that trap of everything running through him.
Yeah.
In particular, when he can dribble the ball as well as he can.
Exactly. And a lot of the players in the first half, I remember sitting down there with Dave and we were saying he touches the ball every single offense, or it goes through him. And it kind of makes the other players a little bit of spectators, especially when it goes down low. But they just need to know when to use that movement and to cut and to use him and make that an advantage.
Sam Short into the game. Here's Hooley, goes baseline on King, gets a nudge, and it counts.
Like that aggressive move from Hooley, able to rip hard left, draw that contact, and able to finish. That's going to be a useful set of tools for him in the NBL with guards that get up and play nice and close.
Definitely. I sat down at halftime with the guard group, him, Bozeman, and Short, and we're talking about their aggression and penetrating, how it's going to open up the court for them. And now they've got both of them on the court. There's Bozeman and Hooley on the court with Short, and hopefully they can use this in their favor. And it's happened right now with this and one. But definitely United need to open up the floor and get into those into the gaps, so make the game a little bit more aggressive on the perimeter.
So the ball down low into Happ. Looking to feed him and give him plenty of supply. This is where he's most dangerous. Looking to spin back to his right hand.
Great D by Wesley. Oh, there's the old 3-second call, which we've now seen 3 called in the last 10 years in the NBL, and they've all been 1 on Wednesday night and 2 tonight.
I was just cold.
Let's go a little bit cold. The wind and all that doesn't have an effect, but
from a promotional and a marketing standpoint, just the picture alone, the ambience, the atmosphere. I think it just looks amazing.
I think North Carolina played a preseason college game on a carrier ship a couple of years ago. So if you're not happy with the open air, Rowie, we'll get you out on the water and see how that one goes. We'll get a catamaran and see Melbourne United can do a scrimmage. You can sit courtside.
Pretty sure I saw a game played in the Swiss Alps in the snow at one stage too. So.
No, but I'd love to play in that kind of atmosphere. I think it's great, but it's great until you get a bug in the face when you shoot the free throw.
Well, that's true. At least you got a legitimate excuse if you shoot a poor clip from the field. There's Trice with the ball fake. Gets it down. And one.
He's got a little bounce in his step right now, Trice. He's come down, made a couple of back-to-back baskets.
But that's the problem. That's the problem I was saying before. It's always on total Wesley. Sometimes you just turn into Magneto and you just get the baskets, whether you like them or not.
Does the coach buy into the Magna theory though, or does he just chew you out?
I haven't said that to him. I think he wouldn't be too happy about it. I don't think Ty would be happy about it.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Trice now with 16 points, the same as Happ.
Kobe King and Trice have kept that scoreboard kicking over here in this third quarter. They're into this zone, Wisconsin, to test the three-point shooters of Melbourne. He's short. Hooley hit one from there a moment ago. That one leaves long. Trice gets the rebound. Last 17 seconds of the third period. It's a 5-point Wisconsin lead. They trail by 13 in the second quarter. Got their offense clicking now, and they're staring at a 5, maybe even a 7 or 8 point lead for the last 10 minutes. Here's Hatt.
Good D.
Ethan O'Day plays him as well as anyone has.
Oh! Fantastic putback jam. Kobe King had 10 points in that quarter. He's now jumped up to 14 points, but it was Dimitri Trice. He's now 5 of 9, 16 points, and really providing a bit of a headache for Melbourne United.
O'Day with the errant pass, and Wisconsin's defense has been brilliant since halfway through the second quarter. We've got a finger tipper, have we?
Yeah, we do. And interesting that Melbourne United have only gone really with 2 of their contracted players here and 1 development player in short. So it's only Hooley and Wesley now that are out there on the floor. And it looks like Wisconsin are going to stay in this little zone for the last shot here. Oh, not the last shot, with 4 seconds to play on the shot clock.
Melbourne United struggled to handle it at the end of the third period, so they'll stay with a little bit here. Trice and Kobe King's third period outstanding. Ethan Happ's been the leader for the Badgers, who last year led them in 5 statistical categories in the Big Ten season.
So just waiting for that shot clock to come back down again. And it won't be 4 seconds, it'll be 16.
Wisconsin got beaten the Sweet 16. Madison Square Garden, I think it was Florida with a buzzer beater. Knocked him out of last year's March Madness. Shot clock at 10. Hooley lets it fly off the iron. Trice, who has ran this team so particularly well, has the ball, guarded by Bozeman. Trying to get in Happ. Here's Pretzel.
Melbourne United's defensive pressure has certainly come up, as we spoke about.
Trice looks Eddie Day in the face and goes bang!
He's just growing confidence as this game's gone on. Now leading all scorers with 19 on 6 of 10 shooting.
Wisconsin's ability to be able to use the screen and roll to get their main guys' shots has been very impressive. Down the other end, Bozeman, right back at you. Much needed basket by Melbourne United, cuts that lead back to 7.
Just trying to drive the tempo up, get up the floor, put a little bit of pressure on these guards, make it a little bit harder for it to go into that low post area. Offensive foul called there by Chris Creed.
We're a long way from it, but Peter Hooley gave him a little body, and then Iverson was done on the hook. Tad unlucky, but Melbourne United will take it. Majuk steps back in. Ethan O'Day sits on the bench. We didn't see Chris Golding play in the fourth quarter on Wednesday night, Rowan. We haven't seen David Barlow today. Do you expect Golding to make an appearance?
I think it's unlikely that we'll see Golding back again. I think you've got to put it in perspective. This is a preseason game. You're on a long journey towards round 1 of the NBL season.
Bozeman, same shot, same result. 2 in a row for Damon Bozeman. It's back to 4, 8.5 to go. And this Trice-Bozeman matchup has been an entertaining one.
We said this the other night about Bozeman. We feel like he's going to be an exceptional point guard in the Seabull next year.
Here's Happ inside. Travel surely. Doesn't matter. He turns it over anyway, but it's going to come back to Melbourne. And there was a double team. Melbourne have been reluctant to actually throw towards him earlier in this game.
Yeah, certainly have been able to see the change in mindset of Melbourne United. And like Daniel Dillon said, Coach Vickerman probably gave him a little bit of a rev up there at three-quarter time as the intensity had dropped. We're seeing a completely different team out there right now as they narrow the lead to 4.
Pooley inside, hands it off. Majuk fumbles it, but gets it in the end. Throws it up, goes off the iron. Wisconsin going to get it. Brad Davison, off the bench, number 34, has been really strong. Hasn't got the accolades of the Trices and the Kobe Kings of the world or the Haps, but has been able to come off and really was instrumental when that double-digit lead got eroded into.
His plus minus is plus 12 at the moment, which means that he's contributed to 12 points on the board, even though they haven't come through his hand. His team has created leads whilst he's out on the floor.
Here he is, Davison. Breitzel, straight on three. It's down. Their ability again to be able to get open looks, the X's and O's and the fundamental basketball of Wisconsin has been impressive. That lead back out to 7. Bozeman's hit a couple himself in this quarter. Off the Wesley screen, gets into the key. Fairly easy in the end.
Bozeman certainly picked up his productivity. Back-to-back threes that time. Do our research.
We're going to roll with it? No, I'm going to
research the researchers. I'm sure they've done their job.
I'm sure they have.
Chris Golding back into the game for Melbourne United.
Hooley, Golding, Wesley, Majuk, and Bozeman. Wesley just throws it up, not even close as the shot clock expires. That's 7 on the shot clock, and the players didn't know it. Coming off the baseline. Trice, Happ, Davison, Breitzel, and Van Vliet for the Badgers. And there he is, the left-handed Belgian for 3. It's down.
Van Vliet. Andy Van Vliet, he has done a tremendous job of hitting the big shots at the right time in this game.
Wisconsin have been able to find the open shot, while Texas were able to use their athleticism to get baskets late. There's Golding off the bench. Great pass, Majuk knocks it down. It's a triple from the baseline. Exchanging triples right now, these two teams, and it's back to 7.
And even though it's been a little bit of an arm wrestle between these two teams, Melbourne United have been able to just manage the margin, keep themselves in the game, give themselves every chance of making a run at this in the 4th.
There's the big left-hander. Happ can't get it inside. Trice off the half screen by Van Vliet. Mismatch, got Majuk on him. Throws a little floater up. Someone flopped and they're going to buy it. Bozeman.
Yeah, he just came through, slid his feet across the lane and took the charge there. He anticipated it well, Bozeman. And that time was able to come away with the possession. Melbourne United on a little bit of a surge here back into the game after trailing by as much as 10.
Back to 7. 7 and Ethan Happ takes a seat as well.
Very surprised to see Chris Golding back on the floor.
Competitive juices, Rowan. You get to a certain point. I know it's only an exhibition match.
Oh, they want to win. I mean, Melbourne United are a proud club. Anytime they get out there, whether whoever's putting the jersey on, they'll want to win.
Wisconsin out of that zone as well. 7-point hole for Melbourne United right now. Majuk. Here's Hooley. Off the screen. There's Golding off the Majuk off ball screen. Gets inside. Great pass. Bozeman, same spot. He's hit 3 now in the 4th quarter. Great look by Chris Golding, able to get deep into the key. Kicks it out, and Damon Bozeman knocks down another one. That lead back to 4.
Bozeman, feet set. Deadly from that perimeter spot at the moment. He D's up the point guard for Wisconsin.
Here's Kobe Kings. 3rd quarter was outstanding. Got Wisconsin going. Inside. Davison bumping, and given an offensive foul.
He may have got away with that in the AAU, but not at professional ranks where he could just bully and beast guards down low. Just threw his shoulder into him. Coach Greg Gard not happy with that call whatsoever, and wouldn't be surprised if he learns who Chris Reed is very, very quickly, telling him to keep quiet.
Greg Gard got the old last warning or the text coming. And now he goes to the other referees. That's what you do as a coach. You get a warning from one, you go to the other one. Was an interesting call. Davison trying to use his strength. Inside to Wesley from Bozeman. No foul call. Majuk, he just picks up the scraps, which is what he does particularly well. Just gets after everything offensively, lays it in. It's back to 2.
Ethan Happ looking to check back into the game. Coach Gard a little bit worried that they had a 10-point lead, and that's evaporated in a matter of minutes.
Here's Davison. Van Vliet back to Davison. No fluency here on this offense from Wisconsin, which has been their trademark in this second half. That's a tough shot by Davison. Off the iron. Hooley grips it, and they're going to go the other way. Haven't had much in transition. Goulding for the lead. Leaves it long. Kobe King picks up the rebound, and Wisconsin will get.
And that's the shot he normally likes to take in transition with his feet set. Goulding unsuccessful on that occasion.
King inside, lays it in. It's back to 4. Probably got away with one there, Wisconsin, mainly because, as you said, that's Chris Goulding's shot.
Yeah, it definitely is, and didn't help that King, once again, the big-time player, has been able to make those shots.
Mr. Wisconsin basketball of the year last year. Van Vliet with the steal. He gives it to King. Goes up. Wesley couldn't do a great deal. King puts it back in, extends that lead to 6. King on an individual 4-0 run.
How impressive has Kobe King been? Now 16 points. Just sensational back-to-back baskets from him.
Bozeman to Wesley. He's been quiet after a great first quarter. And as I say that, he gets an and one opportunity.
Van Vliet not moving his feet there. Caught the side of Ty Wesley. As Wesley comes alive, and he's now got 24 points in the game. I think that's correct. 24 points for Ty Wesley.
By 4. Wesley to try and finish the 3 points the old-fashioned way. And does.
So here we go. 4 minutes of tough basketball coming up for Melbourne United.
Undefeated on their trip so far, Wisconsin. Is Davison, the bench backup guard. He's been really good. Trying to get inside. Here comes Hack. Guarded by Wesley. He's done this all day long. Takes his time. Again. Gets inside. Little right hook. Leaves it off. Jerry Evans comes over. Snatches the rebound. And Melbourne United will go the other way. Hooley from Goulding. Looks at it. Goes on the left. Off the iron. Tipped in by Evans. And one to come. We haven't seen a great deal of Jerry Evans in the second half. But he brought the excitement. He brought the enthusiasm on Wednesday night. And that's exactly what he did there.
It was a bold move by Hooley. He came down the floor and took 3 defenders on. Most coaches would be saying, slow it up, bring it back. But he backed himself, went to the basket, missed the little layup on the right. But this man, Evans, with a lovely tip back to bring the scores back level.
Ties it up. 3:40 to go. Kobe King, who's had a brilliant second half, the freshman, finds himself on the bench. We're all tied up. Davidson guarded by Goulding. Here's Iverson. Trice comes off that weak ball screen. They don't find him. Gillian. Oh, reached in by Hooley.
But I like the energy. We haven't seen Melbourne United extend up the floor with the same level of energy. Goulding was right up on the ball handler there up the floor. The catching spots for Wisconsin are a lot higher now. The one thing, the Badgers are in the bonus. They have 5 fouls, but Melbourne United only with the one foul.
Inbounds, great play. Gillian lies it in. They're back in front, and it's why Wisconsin are leading this game. Their X's and O's and the way they play their basketball, team basketball, is something to watch.
They executed that end ball play really well. A little bit of a miscommunication there with Majok. It was an easy 2 for the Badgers.
Here's Goulding, has the choice of a screen, goes left, kicks it out. Evans looks at it away. Now Goulding does the same thing. Uses the Wesley screen. Happ all over him now. Gives him a little crossover between the leg. Fade away. 18 foot. Doesn't draw the iron. And that's a shot clock violation. It's going to stay with Wisconsin.
Ugly possession for Melbourne United. They really didn't have much purpose there. Goulding got the ball. They wanted to get him involved in the 2-man game, but was able to take his space away. And that's Goulding's 3rd air ball for the day. Admittedly under shot clock pressure, that one.
Trice has ran this team so well. Guarded by Hooley. 2-point Wisconsin lead. 2:43 on the clock. Gilly nearly loses it. They're going to restart it. Shot clock at 7. Trice off the screen. He's had a brilliant game. He's got 3 eyeballs. Majuk shoots a 3. Off the iron. We're going to push the other way. Goulding's going to push on it. Going to hold it up. Wait for the troops. Kicks it. Wesley. One more. Evans. He looks away as well, and they've got to travel.
Yeah, I'm a little confused on that one.
No, they're not. No one has any idea on the court whose the ball is. I'm not sure if the trouble was on Wesley or if it was on Evans. Neither looked to be there, but either way, Badgers ball.
Trice been fantastic at point guard. 19 points in the game for him. The Hap trying to get him that low touch. See if he can come to the middle of the big fella. No, spinning baseline.
Little double team. He spun away from it. Hooley has it. Minute 55 to go here. Casey, Basketball Stadium, new facility. Wesley gets into the key. Little floater from 7 foot, half blocked. Out of court. 4 Wisconsin players couldn't control it. Stays baseline with Melbourne United. 2-point deficit for the home team.
Hap has to develop more versatility in that low post game. They've got a lovely spin baseline, but they're playing him that now. They're ready for it. So he's got to come middle with a nice attacking move.
Poorly guarded by Trice. There's a lot of offensive fouls being called in this game, and I don't think that particularly was there either.
I just get frustrated with those sorts of calls. I mean, we're at the end of the game, and guys are going to run into each other and let them decide it. Those sorts of calls, I hate seeing them in the game.
I'm not even certain Majuk was in setting a screen. I think Golding was just trying to roll off him just a little bit. Here's Iverson, minute and a half to go. Can they extend his 2-point lead? Hap, who's been brilliant, top of the key, guarded by Wesley. Waits for it. Kicks it out. Gillian, baseline, off the iron. We're going to get a long rebound. It's going to stay with Wisconsin. Shot clock resets, back to 14, now back to 10. Trice off the screen, guarded by Majuk. And again, to Wesley, gets inside, dumps it off. Gillian inside, can't finish it. Melbourne United, who look fatigued, get an opportunity now to tie it up or even take the lead. Minutes ago. Here's Evans. Inside from the foul line. Hap with the read, the steal. Led the Big Ten last year in steals. They tried the foul, they don't get it. Iverson gets it down. That's a 4-point Wisconsin lead. And the frustration there, Rowan, but again, Melbourne United did not even did they not get a bad shot, they didn't get a shot up for fully to inbound. Into Majuk, Golding. Inside there's Majuk, nice pass, and one! Great bounce pass, Golding, great play by Dean Vickerman.
Whiteboard perfect from Melbourne United. Little 2-man game handoff with Chris Golding and a little drop pass to Majuk onto the right, and a terrific finish from the big fella.
As great as the possible 3 points here is, the fact that it only took 4 seconds off the clock as Majuk leaves a little short. Hap with the rebound. The time's a big thing there as well. Get a basket in such short amount of time helps.
Fantastic with only 35 seconds left to play in this game. Very important as it's Trice. High ball screen with Hap. Looking to get back involved. Now it breaks down. It calls for the high ball screen again.
Same play other way. Guarded by Wesley. Kicks it out. Iverson tried to dump it inside. Gets a hand. Shot clock, shot clock, shot clock. Might have been a bit of home cooking on the siren there. Actually still one second on the shot clock when it went off in the background. Either way, we're going to stay at Melbourne United with 15.7 seconds to go.
And it doesn't look like Dean Vickerman's got another timeout up his sleeve. So they'll have to run this one on the fly. Whilst it was a great defensive possession, did take 24 seconds off the clock.
Cooley has it.
It's Chris Golding.
Got to be. Here it is with the ball. Guarded by Iverson. Down the 7-6. Goes baseline. Kicks it out. Evans for the win. Got it! 3 seconds to go. No timeout for Melbourne United. The previous play, but Wisconsin just throwing up threes and getting fouled and then going to the foul line. So that's comes into play possibly a little bit here. Davidson to inbound. 2.7 on the clock. Melbourne lead by a point, courtesy of a Jerry Evans 3. He inbounds it. He looks away from Trice. He kicks it over, says Britzel for the win. Leaves it short. That'll do it, Melbourne United. NBL preseason win number 2.